Sure.
Y'all welcome. Y'all welcome, Jay.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Oh, wait, dude, are you in the car?
Dude, it's a long story.
My uncle taught me some stuff, and then I went back to jazz band, and then I did my thing, and then I got addicted to jazz. Long story short, and then I started watching Barry Harris videos online, and then one day I said to my dad, who's my uncle's brother, I said, you know, I love this guy Barry Harris. Who did my uncle study with? And then my dad was like, Barry Harris. I was like, huh? Now I really appreciate this. Wait, this is huge.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like, so my dad was like, yeah, you've met Barry when you were like 6 or something. I was like, huh? You used to hang with Barry, but there's a picture of you and Barry next to this hip car in London. Like, yeah,
Oh
Barry's like
my
a family
goodness.
friend. I was like, oh my God.
Because it was even before you met him, you were
Yeah.
already drawn to that sound.
I mean, like, I've always loved harmony. My relationship with harmony was like, I just listened to pop songs and gospel tunes and hymns, and Pixar and Disney was big for me. And like just hearing some of the changes, and it got me on such an emotional level. This kind of sound, like just walking down to the two, and it's like now I'm just like,
Wow.
oh, that's just walking down to the two. But back then I'm 13. And I'm just like, I need that as an emotion. So the only reason that
Yeah.
I only theorize things so I can give labels to an emotion, so then I can recall the emotion whenever I want.
Right. Right.
Um,
I
so
love that example because that's kind of my thought too, that it should be what we're describing, the movement or the emotion or the overall feeling of it. Yeah.
yeah, I got to music college, and I got there as quite a nerdy sort of harmony guy. And like a lot of people, some people thought that if you thought of music in a systematic way, then it was like emotionless. But I would always argue the opposite, which is like if you know your stuff, if you know your theory, then you can draw upon an emotion. And the
Mm.
way so I watched your videos, Sean, actually, and like the
Oh,
way
wow.
that the way that you transcribe is quite similar to me. To be honest, like I never think like if I hear this, like I don't think of like 1 7 flat 9 3 sharp 11 13. I just know
Mm.
like the feeling of that. I know that
Mm.
like I don't diagnose it like note by note. I just hear it, and I'm like, that's obviously 13 sharp 11 flat 9, because like
Okay.
listen to that crunch, and listen to the diminished major 7 from the B flat. It's so obvious, like, and it's obvious because I've diagnosed the emotions as opposed to the theory.
Wow, man. Yeah. So going specific into the six diminish,
Mm.
Jay, can you just kind of give us your own story with how you discovered that scale, and then maybe some use cases for us, just kind of see some uses of that.
Sure thing. Can you see Cordy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the way I was introduced to it is major scale with an added flat 6 or an added extra note, and then you add this guy, and you have, if you
Right.
if you take every other note in this new scale that you've got, I'm sure you guys
Hmm.
covered this before, but I'll just quickly do it.
Yeah.
Like, take every other note, then you end up.
Yeah. We just started with that. Hmm.
Okay, so you end up with a C6, and then the next chord is you end up with a D diminished, and then the next one
Okay.
is a C6, right? So it's just C6, D diminished, C6, D diminished. You have a whole world of possibilities. So it's a quite a sophisticated way of like creating tension and release in your
Okay.
melodies. So the way I would start with that is I used to take nursery rhymes and hymns and things. So like if you had like nothing that goes outside the key, and I would be like,
Okay. Oh.
okay, so there's no fancy voicing, there's no drop two. All I gave myself a little rule that was
Hmm.
double the melody note. So instead of this, I'm just
Oh,
gonna
so you
make,
have that E at the bottom.
yeah.
Okay.
So let me know if I'm going too fast, by the way.
No, 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 no. Keep going. We're good.
We intermediate here,
This is
yeah?
the intermediate huddle, man. We're following you.
Okay,
And
cool.
plus, if not, we have the recording. We're
Yeah,
recording
sweet.
it as well. So yeah, we're good.
Sweet. Okay, so what I would do is like I would see that, and I would double it. Now, before you move on, the Barry Harris scale system is more than just this. And it's more
Okay.
than just this, the minor version as well. It's
I
very
like the
deep.
minor version. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you need to start seeing, which you won't see on any video apart from Barry videos really, is you start seeing notes as major notes or diminished notes. So what I mean by that,
this is I feel like you're just breaking through. This is a powerful, whatever he's saying, everybody. I can already tell he's not even said it yet. And I'm already like, oh my goodness. All
that's
right,
because
go ahead,
you're a harmony cat. You're just like, I love these categories.
I love it, man. I love it.
So
all right.
basically, when I'm in a major key and I see C as a major note. And so this is what I mean. Through music school, I went to Guildhall, which is like a good music school in London. So basically, I think of music in a mad way. It's really weird. But so I see this C as a major note. So if you play me a song that's like, I see that as that's a major note, and therefore I'll use the major shape. So I take this C and I invert it until I get the one with the C on top, because the melody is here. So I'm going to go
here. Okay.
There we go. We found it. Okay. So we got this. And now our melody that I just made up was. Now, what I know straight away without thinking of anything is I see C as a major note, and I see these guys as diminished notes.
As because diminished.
Yeah, they come from this shape. Yeah.
Right, the shape.
Okay. So this might sound like an abstract way of saying, but it's not, because what happens is when you start seeing things as major notes or diminished notes, then what happens is I'm like, okay, so there's C in the context of C, and straight away I know that C6 is going to sound great. Yeah? Now I'm like, okay, we've got a B. Okay, so that's a diminished note because it falls under this category. There's only two categories you've got to know, the majors and the diminished. Okay? So I know that's a diminished note. So I'm going to play this. So already over C, if the first chord of your song is C, you could be like, or whatever it was. Okay. So now we're here and we're thinking, okay, so most people get to that point and they're like, like I've just made a melody that's, and through this Barry Harris system, I've played this, beautiful, beautiful. But then on the C chord, I've played an F diminished over a C, which is like a G7 flat 9 over C, and it sounds hip, but I wasn't looking for something that full on. And the Barry Harris system told me that if there's a D in the melody, then you play this guy. Why does this sound like that? Right? And that's where people get stumped and they say, okay, that's the Barry Harris system, peace out. But it's like, this is where you think of major notes and diminished notes. So I liked the first one, and I'm doing this, I'm informing my choices emotionally. So the first one was a major note. So I used the full major block, which is shape 1, let's call it. Now B, I followed the system and it gave me this.
Okay, diminished over C.
Which I thought was pretty nice, so I'm going to keep it. I think it's neat. So,
okay.
And let's go back because it sounds good. But this D, this was meant to be like the start of my tune. And if you forget the Barry Harris system, if you have a D on a C major, that's just a C major 9, C major add 9, C major add 2, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right,
But then this Barry Harris guys made me play this. I don't want that. And this is what happens, okay? Is you take this and you're like, this is D, a diminished note. But what we did is we watched it from a YouTube tutorial. So we just put a diminished block, right? But what you got to think is diminished notes and major notes can coexist together, okay? And that's where the sound of the 6/9 comes from. It comes from saying that this is a diminished note, but instead of going all out diminished, I'm going to move these 3 down to major notes. So you got this.
Okay. So let me to follow you just with what you're saying.
Yep.
Are you basically saying that the 6/9 chord is in essence a combination of the diminished and the major chord kind of superimposed on each other?
Yeah, and I'm gonna sound crazy, bro, but essentially, this is how I see harmony. This is how Barry Harris, and this is how Schoenberg sees harmony. If you read Schoenberg's theory of harmony, this is his vibe, okay?
Okay.
Look at the diminished chord. We can say, yeah, this is a G7 flat 9, but if you guys are hip to classical music, you'll know that, what's this called? in classical harmony is called a 9/8 suspension or a sus2. Next one in the D diminished is F. I don't need to explain this. If I play C and I play F, that's a 4/3 suspension, yeah?
Okay.
So D wants to go home. Now the next one is A flat.
Oh, I see.
But I mean, that guy doesn't even have a name. It's just ridiculous, right? That just wants to go home.
He wants to go home, though.
Yeah, all we know is he wants to go home.
He just wants to go back to the 5. Yeah.
And then the B, again, yeah. After years and years of music, we're cool with this sound, right? But it's not truly resolved. This is called the leading note in classical music.
Right.
And look, if I end a piece, you need to go there, yeah?
Okay, so it's almost like you're seeing everything as tension and release, like diminished versus major or tension versus release. Would that be an appropriate way to say what you're how you're looking at that?
Totally, bro. I completely agree. What I say is, just like people call harmony tension and release, I think of melody as having tension and release. And just like people say that harmony has function, I believe personally in melodic function. So I believe that this guy, yeah, it can be at home. Well, that's a leading note that might be happier there. And it's your decision to end a tune like this. But at the end of the day, how strong can C major 7 be? If we're playing a tune with a C on a C, like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right? Somewhere. Yeah, and you play some,
right.
And you don't want to put that B there, bro. You don't want to go.
Yeah.
You can if you voice it nice, but I'm saying it's more nice to just play C6 where it's out of the way.
Oh.
You see? Like, look.
Yeah.
No matter the octave, you don't want a tonic note on a major 7 chord because that B is a leading note and that guy wants to go to C. So all of these are not forbidden, but what I'm saying is they're choices. Don't get me wrong, I don't end tunes like this. I end tunes with the normal, I do the whole thing, you know? But as in, I'm just letting you know that traditionally related to classical music, D, F, A flat, and B are all suspensions of some kind. And together as a unit, they make one big suspension, okay?
I see what you're saying. So let me just to back it up for everybody. Basically, with that home chord, using any of those notes within the diminished 7th scale kind of feels unresolved, basically, is what you're saying. And so this is the argument he's making about that B being there, that the A is almost like a stronger home sense, would you say, as opposed to the B being there.
But we've got so used to the sound of this. And what I say, this will be crazy for you, bro, but this is C major 9, and I call it C major 9, but in my head, what I was thinking throughout my whole years of Guildhall at music school, what I was thinking was Barry would call this C major with 2 diminished notes.
Wow.
And he would call this, he would say, you could resolve it like this. He'd go to me, Jay, resolve it. And I'd say, what? And he'd go like this. He'd say, that's
right. The B would have to resolve.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's not forbidden. It's what it's saying. It's like just that knowledge of just knowing, like, if you think about this sound, like, I don't know, we're ending a tune. Like that.
Yeah. When I'm hearing it like that, now I can realize I can hear how the B, it's still being pulled somewhere.
Yeah.
To me, when the way that you're playing it, it's not yet finished.
So again, if you watch some reharm tutorial, maybe they'll say, when you have a B, play a C major 7 sharp 5. But it's like, no, I want the levels of dissonance to be a choice. I don't want it. So it is objectively a C major 7 sharp 5, but I'm thinking of it as major notes and diminished notes. And what I did is I saw that this was a diminished note in the melody. So I'm going to keep one diminished note here, but I'm going to chill it out with major notes here.
And this is why I like, this is the reason why I like hearing individual philosophies in terms of how you're constructing it. Because to me, we all have to have our individual way that we see this.
Yeah.
And I can see how looking at it this way really opens things up for you. It doesn't lock you in as much, because by looking at everything as being diminished and moving or stable, I don't know, just that thought. I'm still on that as far as what you're saying. I think it's a really, really cool, interesting idea. And by the way, JR also had a question below. I don't know if you, Jay, feel free to unmute yourself too, by the way.
Yeah, you can ask a question, man. Go for it.
Yeah, how you doing? So are you using, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're doing this, because I see that your melody is not moving, and your bass chord is not moving. So I was just thinking, if when you're thinking of this, are you thinking as a pedal movement on top of like how long that chord is being held? Like, let's say if you're using a C chord on two measures, if you're spreading those chords on those two measures, do you understand my question?
I think so. So you're saying,
okay.
Do I use this as like when you have time on a chord and it's like a pedal point on the chord?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but you can use it on fast pacing melodies.
Okay.
So for example, let's take you know what? I'll take the video that Sean used on his channel. Shout out to you, by the way. That was the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, I love that sound. I honestly wish I would have picked a better video from yours, but that was the one that I could do real quick.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Like, genuinely, I was on my YouTube sub box and I'm subbed to like loads of cats. And I saw it literally, I saw my face in the thumbnail. I was like, this guy. But yeah, so I did this tune. This is an example of it's not being used in a pedal point. So the melody is here. So C, you tell me, is C going to be a major note or a diminished note in the key of F?
Major, diminished, major.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So long story short, if it's F, A, C, or E, your answer is major. If it's any of these, yeah. So the melody is. So how I play it is I play the C by itself, and then I begin craziness. Okay. So we got this D. Is D a diminished note or a major note?
D would be a diminished note.
Okay. So. Oh no, that's not right. That's not right. We're in the key of F now.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it'd be a major note.
You got it. So remember F6.
F6. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did here is I took an F6 shape, and what did I do? Oh, we have comments?
Drop two. Okay, yeah.
Everyone going crazy. Yeah, drop two. You got it. Okay, and the melody is do do do. And I'll speed through this, but so now there's E. Now E, you would think would be a major 7, but it's found in this shape, right? So I'd be like this. Okay, and this is G diminished.
Yeah. I got you. You just drop into the okay. Yeah, I see it.
Yep. But the written chord for this song is like this. It's F, right? So you could call that a pedal point, but it's movement over.
It's movement. Okay.
But this is the second question where he's been asked about pedal. It's almost as if your melody is informing a lot of your chord choices as far as
100%
building them up from the root. Would that be correct, Jay?
Yeah, 100%. It's the melody that's informing it, but chords are melodies and melodies are chords, is what Barry used to say to me. It's heavy.
It is, man.
Chords are melodies and melodies are chords. So I know the hippest thing that you could say these days is that chords are just stacked melodies, man. But it's like, I think Barry's thing is a bit more profound. Chords are melodies and melodies are chords. Oof. There are like 2 tricks that I would recommend implementing from today. Okay. Those are drop the 2 for the love of God. Because
by the way, Jay, we got about 5 minutes because I got to get back on the road at 4.
Okay.
At my time.
Okay, cool. So drop the 2 because this thing of going, it's old school 50s jazz, yeah? But then if I do that, but I drop the 2 on the same chord, look.
It just
It's stupid, bro. So now I'm gonna play what you played, JR. You played all this stuff. I'm gonna play all that, but in drop 2. These are all drop 2. Look. Now I'll do it in F minor because that's 4 minor. Now we're going to D minor. So D minor 6. Now we're going to go to F minor because 4 minor over 5. You know? So the two tricks will drop the 2 and mix and match the diminished and the majors, and then you'll get the gold. Okay? In terms of what chord, Sean, you need to bring me on again, but basically,
it's our listen. You guys, if y'all put a reaction or a yes if you'd like to see Jay on again. I'm already seeing a yes. I got William, yes. I got Cyril, yes. I got Wanda. Cyril was wondering if you can maybe play.
Sure.
See y'all later.
And it's beautiful because we were jamming and we know the sounds, and we're laughing and we're acknowledging it. But you know, one guy might call it one thing. It's more like, can you find a way of categorizing that emotion so you can draw upon it? You know?
Right. And and the way that, in terms of the language of music.